is Brian Windhorst. That over there, Dapper Dan or
yes,
Kendrick
sir.
Perkins?
We love the tie.
Yeah, it's looking good,
tie is
my friend.
great.
Oh, well, I appreciate that.
Well, I think he's looking good, Sinead, because we got 24 teams in action tonight as group rounds continue for the NBA Emirates Cup. And tonight on ESPN, we have a clash between two of the brightest stars, a bright young star, and then the NBA standard for the last 20 years. We got LeBron and Wemby, who will meet tonight for the third time. In their first matchup, remember, Wembanyama pulled down 15 boards to go with a pair of steals and a block to help the Spurs snap a franchise record 18-game losing streak at the time. And then LeBron's 30 points led the Lakers to a win in their second meeting. That was in February. But Wemby kind of stole the show. He became the youngest player with a 5x5 game, joining Hakeem Olajuwon as the only players with 25 points and 10 boards in a 5x5 game. And both players have starred in their last three, man. LeBron is the oldest player with 3 straight triple-doubles by 5 years. Wemby, meanwhile, is coming off a 50-point game and is the first player with 20 three-pointers and 10 blocks in a 3-game span in NBA history. So this is going to be something to behold here, Wendy. What are your expectations in this one?
So LeBron is probably, and it's hard for me to say this, I think LeBron is kind of underappreciated with the way he's playing right now. That is not something that I've maybe said too often since he was about 13, 14 years old. He is shooting 46% from three-point range. This is far and away the career best run he's had. Last year, he shot over 40%, and this is not an anomaly. He has improved his outside shot, which has opened up the rest of his game, especially as he's aged and he's not as adept at getting around through traffic. He's opened it up. And plus, J.J. Redick has put the ball in his hands more. He is averaging over 9 assists a game in addition to 8 rebounds. We're talking about, I know AD's had a good year, but we're talking about a guy who was averaging 24, 8 rebounds, 9 assists on 46% three-point shooting. How about paying attention to LeBron James and what he's got going on right now?
Well, we've been paying attention to LeBron. That's why he's in the GOAT conversation, Wendy. That's why we consider him one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time, okay? But we're not about to sit up here and start this Friday off by ignoring the matchup that really, really matters in this game.
Which is?
Oh. Who plays the center for the Lakers?
Anthony Davis.
Who plays the center for San Antonio?
Victor Wembanyama.
Damn it, they got to guard each other tonight. We're talking about 2 generational bigs, 2 elite defenders in the game, 2 of the most skilled, 7 foot more guys that we'll ever see in our lifetime. And so when you think about this matchup, it's almost like it takes me back to when we used to see KG and Dirk and Dirk against Tim Duncan and those guys. It's mano a mano. They're going to guard each other. They're both playing at an extremely high level. Obviously, AD is playing at the MVP level. And Victor Wembanyama, he's been putting up video game numbers his last 4 or 5 games.
So you're talking about the matchup on the inside. I want to talk about the matchup on the outside because it involves Victor Wembanyama, but also LeBron James. Think about this, y'all. Year 2 versus year 22. But one thing that those guys do and separate themselves on is having skill and having a different, strength when it comes to their physicality. When you think about a 7'4", 7'5", and then LeBron James, 6'9", or whatever the case may be, their shot-making ability separates them. And you see the divide between decades. Victor Wembanyama, 7'5", shooting what? 54% from 3 the last 3 games. He's made 23s in the last 3 games, 6.8 per game. And then LeBron James, y'all, I fell in love with some of those jumpers he was taking last time out. He's shooting currently, I think 46%, like you said, Wendy. When he doesn't even bring the ball down, when he has to take little movements to be able to get maximum results, it's cool to see how these guys that are physical, literal specimens have used their three-point shot to separate themselves.
Anthony Davis, is still sort of dealing with that eye issue. What's going on there?
Yeah, it may be causing him a little bit of an issue. He's going to play.
Yeah.
The other night, I think the foul trouble that he had in that game more affected him than the eye, but something to keep an eye on. Cavaliers, they have sprinted out to a 13-0 start to the season. It's their best since the 2015-16 Warriors started the season 24-0. Now, Cleveland has the NBA's second-ranked offense behind a really balanced attack. 6 players averaging double digits in points per game and 6th ranked in defense, making them one of 2 teams to be top 6 in both categories. The other team is the Golden State Warriors. Now, the Cavs' 13-game win streak, it's already the 6th longest to start a season in NBA history. You can see here with wins over the Bulls, the Hornets this weekend, they would tie here for the 2nd longest streak.
Those are the teams that they need, right? And here are the games the Cavs need to win to become the second team to start 16-0. They're strong favorites to beat the Bulls and the Hornets, but according to BPI, they're underdogs Tuesday in Boston. Wendy, will this streak define or propel this Cavs season, do you think?
I think it's propelling it.
All
I
right.
think because they're gaining confidence. And the NBA Cup, I think, is really perfect for the Cavs. It's coming at a really good time. They're playing well. Their organization's on the rise. They haven't won big time together. Frankly, let's be honest. You're a former Cavalier. It's not an organization that's won that much in the franchise history. And, you know, people made fun of the Lakers putting up a banner for the in-season tournament last year. It would be an honor for the Cavs to put up a banner for the NBA Cup. I'm being serious, and it would be a great thing for them to win. And by the way, in these NBA Cup games starting tonight, these games now matter on the point differential.
Yeah.
The Cavs are in a tough group because they got to play the Celtics, and they got to play the Celtics on the road, as you just showed. The Cavs not only need to win tonight for the NBA Cup, to extend the streak, they need to win by some margin because they may need that margin. And we're going to be talking about that over the next few weeks. It's not just how much you win or lose by. It's the margin, and we need to start paying attention to that starting tonight.
Wendy, you said two things that I really loved. One, it's the fact that they have to win, and they are winners. And I think oftentimes we see teams, and you mentioned the Celtics, that's the second part. 2 years ago, a year ago, we would say, hey, this Celtics team, they're winning the games they need to win to put themselves in position to win when it matters most. We're saying those same things about the Cleveland Cavaliers right now, and I think their X factor is absolutely Evan Mobley. We all knew Donovan Mitchell could play. We all knew Jarrett Allen was an elite defender. We all knew Darius Garland is an all-star. We've been waiting for this guy to really develop. He has been the one, as Perk would say, they put a key in his back, and he started to go. And I love it. It started last year up against the Celtics to continue the comparison. He brought that confidence into this year. Right now, he's averaging 18 and 8.5 rebounds. And to me, the way I love is how he's being utilized. He has the ball in his hands for him to get a rhythm. He's initiating the offense. I love the growth of him, and he's been the key factor for making sure that chemistry keeps going.
You know what makes my skin crawl, right, is when people
There's a few things.
There's got to be a zillion things.
But it's when people try to downplay and say, oh, the Cavs, they're getting off to a hot start. We want to see what they're doing in April. No, it matters. It matters what you're doing, especially when you have a new head coach in Kenny Atkinson. He's bringing in a new system, right? Especially when you somewhat underachieved last season, and especially when we have been waiting to see if Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland could coexist, and it looked like they can. We've been waiting to see, can Karis LeVert come in and provide that spark off the bench when it looks like he can. So at the end of the day, what the Cavs are doing right now is no other team that I've witnessed that hasn't approached the season that has championship aspirations that don't want to hit the ground running.
But how do you balance
exactly
that?
What they're doing.
Right, because you've been on teams, Boston Celtics teams, who've
Right.
had long winning streaks and not overlooking some of your opponents, getting too focused on the win streak and not the process that you're talking about for that bigger goal.
Well, I think you just got to stay in the moment, right? And when you go into film session, even with the wins, you address the issues that you may have to see, right? And sometimes, you know, you start diving deeper into your playbook if you're a coach and start challenging your team to certain situations, meaning, hey, I know we've been working and we're on the 13 or 12 game winning streak, and you've been in the drop coverage, Jarrett Allen, but this week, this next game, I'm going to challenge you. We're switching everything, right? And that's building, right? That's when you start to build.
I think the big thing will be a referendum on the Cavs is when the streak eventually ends.
Yeah.
Can they stay hot?
Right.
You know, can they move past just, focus on the streak? Because they've had a couple of games
Why you want it to end, Wendy?
No. It will end. All good things come to an end.
We're not talking about it.
You're exactly right. Like, I don't see this Cavs team as a team that's operating under pressure. It looks like a team that's having fun. And to me, when the loss comes, it's being able to, like, all right, that's no big deal. Celtics lost to the Pacers. They lost to the Warriors. They're still trying to push along, right? I think it's going to be the same thing for the Cavs.
Well, and as Darius Garland said when he was on our show the other week, actually, gosh, it was this week. It's been a long week. He said, Tristan Thompson is quick to remind us that the 24-0 Golden State Warriors team ran into who? He said us, this Cavaliers team. Don't be them.
The 2016 Cavs are quick to remind everyone.
They should, as they should.
In his last game, Wemby scored a career-high 50 points, including a career-best 8 three-pointers. He's continued to amaze with the 7'4" big man can do. He continues to expand our expectations of him. Here's Richard Jefferson and our ESPN Sports Science team.
San Antonio Spurs rising star Victor Wembanyama is a human cheat code.
Wembanyama rejects
Standing at 7 foot 4 inches, how exactly does this phenom use his game-breaking length to impact the floor? Let's look at the numbers.
Oh my goodness!
Wembanyama's wingspan is 8 feet. That's about the length of a cargo van. This helps give him a colossal defensive range of 3,850 cubic feet. That's nearly 8% larger than the defensive range of Anthony Davis.
Punched out of here!
So how does that range affect shooters? Well, against average-sized defenders, Jason Tatum often shoots threes with 4 feet of separation. But to get off a normal shot on Wembanyama, he'll need an additional foot of space.
Jason Tatum from downtown!
If Wemby is within range during Tatum's shooting motion, Tatum will be forced to increase his arc by 10 degrees, which increases the total distance a three-point shot needs to travel by about 3.5 feet. This extra distance requires more upper body power, reducing accuracy by as much as 40%. On the other end, Wemby can go from the three-point line to the rim with one dribble in just 1.8 seconds.
Throwing it down!
He does this thanks to massive strides that are nearly 8.5 feet in length. Step for step, that's on par with the ground covered by Olympic sprinters. On his jumpers, Wemby has an absurd release point 9 feet off the ground. This means when guarding him tightly, a lengthy defender like Kevin Durant, who can extend as high as 12 feet, has to react 0.1 seconds before Wemby brings the ball up in order to even have a chance to block that shot. All told, you can see how Wemby is turning heads and dropping jaws on both ends of the floor.